what if I told you that everyone here, myself included, is an artificial intelligence being living in a virtual, simulated world? What if I told you that reality, everything we see, everything we know, is a computer program? I know what you're thinking. That's crazy. It's impossible. Can't be true. I thought the same way too. Until I started putting the puzzle pieces together for myself, and I concluded that this is the most logical and rational explanation of them all.
My dance with simulation theory started about 10 years ago when I watched a wonderful film called The Truman Show. Spoiler alert, the main character, played by Jim Carrey, he finds out that everybody in his life is an actor and that his entire world is artificial. This is the scene when he finds out that the sky that he grew up admiring and loving was simply painted onto a wall. When I watched this movie, I'll be honest, it scared me. It scared me, but it fascinated me. It made me want to learn more. So I started watching more movies, like The 13th Floor, The Matrix, Dark City, Vanilla Sky. Excellent movies that make you think, that make you question. But the movies, they didn't satisfy my curiosity. So I started to do more research. Turns out, simulation theory is older than the Bible. Greek philosopher Plato came up with a thought experiment. He imagined, what if there were people who were taken as babies into a cave and chained to a chair to look at a wall, and behind them was a fire. Objects would move in front of the fire and cast shadows onto the wall. And the prisoners, not knowing anything else in their entire life, would believe that the shadows were the real thing. They would believe that the simulation was the reality. A simulation is an artificial model created to imitate a real-world process. Remember this word imitate, it's gonna come back. It turns out that we humans, we make a lot of different types of simulations ourselves for many different reasons. Professionals, such as pilots and surgeons, they have very dangerous jobs. Any mistake with the operating knife can cost somebody their life. So they train their skills in simulations, like flight simulators, so that they won't have to practice on real people. Crisis simulations allow us to predict when natural disasters will strike and how they will affect our infrastructure. Politicians use public opinion simulators to predict how they will perform in an election. And companies use similar simulators before they launch new products. But this isn't the most common type of simulation. Can anyone guess what the most common type of simulation is? That's right, it's entertainment. We build simulations just so we can do things that are forbidden, illegal, dangerous, just so we can have a good time. And in all of these simulations, the closer that they imitate real life, the better they are at performing what they do. The Sims allows you to build homes, design homes the way you want to, build people any way you want them to look. You can make them look that way. And my little sisters, it's funny, they would build themselves in the game, and then they would build a copy of their boyfriend. And they would make a family. And they would make kids just to see, what would happen, what the kids would look like, just to live out their fantasies. And I bet many of the girls in this room did the same thing. I know many of the guys in here have played Grand Theft Auto. This is a game where you can steal cars, you can buy and shoot all sorts of guns. You can punch random people on the street, and, well, many other illegal things. You can kill and die as many times as you want. And the thing about these games is they're slowly evolving. GTA started out as a top-down shooter. Graphics were terrible. And now, the graphics are almost lifelike. The movements are becoming more realistic. The characters are starting to talk to you. In 1965, a scientist named Gordon Moore predicted that computing power will double every 2 years. So every 2 years, we have twice as much computing power as we did the previous 2 years. And for the last 50 years, his prediction has turned out to be true. Computing power is doubling roughly every 2 years. And as computing power doubles, so does our ability to make better and better graphics, better and better artificial intelligence movement algorithms. Can you imagine what GTA would look like in 100 years? What would GTA 87 look like? Will we be able to go into the game and talk with some artificial intelligence characters about French philosophy? Just imagine. And then I thought, well, what happens when you turn off the game? Do the characters just disappear? Do they go to a different reality? Again, as our computing power improves, we will be able to run simulations continuously. We will never have to turn off the game. The artificial intelligence beings that we design in the game can continue to do whatever they're programmed to do without ever knowing that it's a simulation. Has anyone here tried virtual reality? If you haven't tried it yet, I guarantee you, next 2 or 3 years, you will try it. This technology is incredible. It's brand new, so it's about 20 years old, and it works when you put on goggles over your eyes and headphones over your ears. The technology sends you data that imitates what you see and what you hear in real life. It's a simulation of the sounds and the sights that you experience as a human. This technology, just like any sort of technology, is improving with computing power. The more we find out about our senses, about how the mind works, about how the brain functions, and the quicker our technology improves, the more we'll be able to simulate. Can you imagine putting on some goggles and eating your favorite food? Maybe it's a juicy burger, and you can eat it as many times as you want and never gain a single gram of weight. As our technology improves, we'll be able to simulate just about anything. We'll be able to simulate environments, balance. So I thought, how long is it before we can simulate everything? Maybe it'll start small. Maybe it'll start like in a classroom or in a presentation, a TED Talk. But how long before we're able to simulate a planet? And then I thought, what are the chances that we are living in a virtual reality simulation right now, right at this second, that everything that you're experiencing is generated by a computer? Well, don't take my word for it. Billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk believes that there's a 1 in a billion chance that we're living in the true reality. So there's a 999,999,999 chance to 1 that we're living in a simulation. Okay, Elon, I'll give you this. There's a chance. There's a chance. But what about the other thing that I said? If we're living in a simulation, we're artificial intelligence. That's spooky. But what is AI? AI is when a machine is programmed to mimic cognitive functions such as learning and problem solving. What's another word for mimic? Imitate. And the key word here is programmed. We will get to that later. Some real-life examples of artificial intelligence include sound recognition, okay Google, hi Siri, or self-driving cars. I bet many of you didn't know this, but a lot of the news that you're reading about sports is actually written from start to finish by a robot. This robot right here is created by a company called Boston Dynamics, and it has an artificial intelligence software that allows it to move over any kind of terrain. And again, I'll say this again, Moore's law holds constant. Computing power continues to improve over and over. Every 2 years it doubles. So what's the future of artificial intelligence? Can we program free will? That's a very deep philosophical question. But I will say that some robots already do have limited free will. Like this robot right here. His name is Alter. He's created by Japanese specialists with a central pattern generator. This software allows him to move his hands and create his own movements. The robot is able to interact with people, like shaking their hands, and learn from those interactions to make his own movements better. That's just the beginning. And then I thought, well, okay, so artificial intelligence is moving really quickly, and they can do a lot of things that, we thought only humans could do before. But what's artificial about artificial intelligence anyway? We have this idea that natural intelligence, like humans and animals, they evolved over time, interacted with nature. Artificial intelligence are machines built by humans, programmed by humans. But can natural intelligence be programmed? Before we get to that question, a program is a set of coded instructions for the automatic performance of a particular task. A scientist named Ivan Pavlov in the Russian Empire performed a set of experiments to test this question. He noticed that every time that he brought food out to his dog, the dog would salivate because he was hungry, he wanted to eat. And Pavlov wanted to test if he could cause the dog to salivate without the food, if he could program the dog in a process he called conditioning. So what he did was, every time he brought food out to the dog, he would also ring a bell, ding, ding, ding. And at first, when Pavlov rang the bell without the food, the dog thought, oh, that's just a bell. But over time, the dog associated the food with the bell. And over time, when Pavlov rang the bell, even though there was not any food anywhere near the experiment, the dog would salivate. This result excited the entire scientific community. It proved that natural intelligence could also be programmed. What about human beings? Are there ways that we automatically perform certain tasks? Think about the beating of your heart. Keeps you alive. Yeah? You do it without thinking. Or your hair grows, your nails grow. Those are automatic programs. When your body is low on energy, your body is programmed to feel hunger so that you go out and find more food and eat it. Or when you see something terrifying like a big bear, you are programmed to feel fear so that you either fight it or run away. In the case of the bear, I hope you run away. What we see is actually just light coming back from everything around us. And our eyes are able to transmit this to our brains so that we have vision. Emotions, feelings, attitudes can also be programmed. Often our parents or our friends or society or TV tells us what is beautiful, what is good, what is true. And we're programmed to believe it. In fact, DNA, which was discussed here, is also a set of coded instructions that automatically tells your cells how to multiply to make you look the way you do. DNA is a program. And at this point, all of the puzzle pieces are starting to come together. There's a chance that simulation theory is right. There's quickly advancing progress in artificial intelligence that says we can program machines to do many of the things that we can do. Human beings and animals, they have so many of their own types of programs. And so I asked the final question, am I AI? Am I artificial intelligence? At first, my pride was telling me, no, you're so creative, you're so smart, there's no way you could be programmed. But then I thought, people much smarter than I am out there, and probably people much smarter than them. And I finally admitted, there's a chance. But, so what? What if I am artificial intelligence? What does that change? At that moment, nothing. I thought, I'm still gonna go and have really delicious food and try to get a good job and wish my mother a happy birthday, go on cool vacations. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this idea, simulation theory, has a lot of different applications to philosophy, life, science, technology, a lot of different things. First of all, as we mentioned before, every simulation has a purpose. So that if we are living in a simulation right now, it was designed with a purpose in mind. So is it possible for us to find out the purpose of our simulation, even if it's just for entertainment? Is it possible? And what if the old religions were right? Because every simulation has a creator, or maybe a team of creators who are just typing away on their computers. Would it be possible to talk to our creator or creators? Would it be possible to find out more about their world? We talked a lot today about physics, and this is really interesting. Physics has this idea called the Big Bang, where everything that we know came out of nothing. All the matter, all the energy in the universe just appeared. And there's a lot of money going into studying the very first moments of the Big Bang, the Large Hadron Collider. A simulation theory could posit that the energy comes from outside of our system, just like a television being turned on. And we talked a little bit about quantum mechanics, this really weird phenomenon that we observe with cells. It's as if 2 or 3 different programmers worked on the same project and used different code. What are the limits of our simulation? What can we do? If we know the rules of our simulation, we can build better technology, we can improve our lives, we can travel through the cosmos. Are there other simulations? Can we go outside of our simulation? Can we visit the simulation of our creator? And these are all interesting philosophical questions. It might not be interesting for you, but I will leave you with one final thought. As we start to create our own simulations, for whatever reason, even if we just want to build a family and see what the kids look like, or even maybe we want to test out this theory. Maybe we can build a program that will allow us to test if our reality is a simulation. But as we start building these simulations, start building more advanced artificial intelligence in our likeness and our image, if we build them to look like us, to think like us, to feel like us, how will they perceive their world? Will they feel the warmth of the sun and the smell of the flowers? Will they get angry? Will they worry? Will they believe that their experience is as real as we believe our experience to be? What if that in the process of creating simulations, we become creators and we create a soul? Thank you.